I'll start out with the drums themselves. It's a PDP main stage. So real cheap poplar drums. Bass drums a 22 by 18. First rack tom, 10 by 8, 12 by 9, 16 by 14, I think. Yeah, 16 by 14. I use Evans G2 right now, but I think I'm gonna move to the G1s. I prefer a really thin, clear tom head. It's a hydraulic on the floor tom. I don't really like the hydraulic, actually. It really kills the tone. The drum just can't breathe at all with it on there. I don't like any damping either. Sometimes I'll put a single little gel or something on there if the overtones are really bad. Reso heads are the Evans black resonant. Bass drum head is a EMAD, the old one. I think it has a small foam in there. Got an EQ patch on there. Snare drum is a Yamaha Stage Custom Birch. Absolutely fantastic value. It's a 10 lug, sounds great. I have this old cheap Remo head on there. I think it's the one that actually came with the drum. Normally I use a HD dry, but mine wore out and I had this one laying around, so I just threw it back on there for now. Yamaha E8010, of course. The pedals are the Speed Cobra 910, I think. I have the Gibraltar round wooden beaters. I like these a lot. They sound great. They're pretty cheap too. Nice and durable. I think they look pretty cool as well. I don't like the cam shape though on the Speed Cobras. It's a really old school round cam, so you don't get much of a progressive action out of it. And the way I play, I really wish they were more progressive shaped. The cymbals, Meinl Classics Custom 18-inch, Classics Custom Extreme Metal 16-inch. I don't really like these crashes that much. They're real heavy, thick. You get a lot of shimmer out of them. But everything pretty much sounds the same on the E8010 anyway. Everything sounds real boxy, real dead, especially when you do too much compression on there. Ride Byzance Sand Ride 20-inch with the raw bell. The China is a Wuhan 18-inch, but I drilled these holes out myself. I marked out for another row of the little holes, but I got tired of drilling, so I just stopped. This thing sounds great though. Even before I put the holes in there, it still sounded fantastic, but it sounds really good with the holes in there. Real papery, trashy, quick decay. This is a HCS trash stack, the 12-inch. This is a Wuhan Splash 10-inch. Let me take this off here. And I actually took one of those super cheap, like stamped, like Temu type cymbals. You know the ones. And I marked out with a Sharpie on it, and I cut out the cymbal. It was a 14-inch or 13-inch or something, and I cut out the 10-inch with some tin snips and made a little stack out of this because I wanted a stack instead of a full-on splash over here. I like how much more versatile a stack feels. The hi-hats are Soultone. I can't remember the model. It doesn't actually say it on here, but they're raw something 14-inch. They sound absolutely fantastic. You can get a really good chick, nice and dry, but they're not too super dark, which you usually get with really dry cymbals. And I like that they still have a little bit of brightness, but they're not super bright like a custom or something. The hardware, that's just an old random PDP 2-leg hi-hat stand. I hate that thing. It sucks. It lifts up super slow. The pedal feels terrible. You can't adjust the height or anything. That arm, just a couple Gibraltar arms holding my stacks. The other stands are PDP 800, I think. They're absolutely fantastic value. They're really impressive, to be honest. And then I have a clamp over here and then the top tube of a PDP 800 coming out. They have a infinite tilter right there too, which at this price range is really good. I mean, I think they're $80 a stand or something like that. which that's fantastic. Throne, Gibraltar, something. I don't know. It's one of the slightly higher end ones with the full screw type on there. I don't like the Rocket Sock, the air ones. I don't know, they kind of bounce me around a little bit. The monitors are Stag, the real cheap ones, the $60 ones or whatever. I did play the 4-piece for a long time. That's why I have that clamp right there. I just left it on there because whatever. And I moved to a 5-piece recently just because I thought my playing was getting a little stale. So I just threw the extra tom on there to add something extra to it. Drumsticks, Vic Firth American Classic 2Bs. I like to play a really thick stick. I have a whole bunch of extra ones over here. I have some cheap 2Bs that I got just randomly because I needed some. I have some LA Special 5Bs. I played a 5B for years and years, but then I moved to the 2B recently and I really like it. The way I record, I have my laptop set up over here. I'll usually find a YouTube video of the song that I want to record and do a YouTube to MP3. That's the one I use. They're all the same. But I'll use the YouTube to MP3, download it, and I'll mix it on my other computer in iMovie. And then I just have the E8010 over here sitting on its box. The effect, I run it on compressor, of course, everybody does. And then I usually have it like 2 to 2.5 on this knob, the effect knob. No reverb, no trigger. And then I usually play with this maxed out, and then I just adjust the song volume with that. But I built this drum room. It's 2x4 walls, and I have 2 layers of 5/8 drywall on here. I think it's 6x8, 8 wide, 6 tall. And I've got these moving blankets and acoustic panels on there. It's still pretty reverby in here. It doesn't sound great. So I'm gonna do 2-inch acoustic panels, I think, to fill in all the gaps. I've got a hole cut out here, right there in the roof, real nicely cut. And I have a fan right there, again, really beautifully done, but it's pulling air out. That fan is pulling air out, and you can feel it sucking air in through this hole above me. And that's how I breathe. That's the drum set. Again, I want to change the heads. These are getting pretty worn out anyway. They're real dead right now. But I want to change to a thinner head. Maybe even do some EC resos on there to try to control those overtones without it sounding too bongy. That's the kit. Thanks for watching.